I will call the March 11th, 2024 Tangipahoa Parish Council public hearing to order. We have two items on the public hearing. The first one is 2404, an ordinance to abandon the dedication of a public road encompassing 1.505 acres, more or less situated in Section 5, Township 7, South Range and East, located in District 8, Tangipahoa Parish, State of Louisiana. Is anyone here to speak on that? No one here to speak on that. The next item is an ordinance to place a maximum 90-day moratorium on the consideration and or approval of all developments on construction and demolition debris sites within Tangipahoa Parish. Is anyone here to speak on that? Okay. The next item is one I need to read regarding sales and use tax. Notice hereby given that the Parish of Tangipahoa, State of Louisiana, will meet on Monday, April 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Tangipahoa Parish, Gordon A. Burgess Governmental Building, 206 East Mulberry Street, Amite, Louisiana, at which time there will be consideration of action regarding the renewal of the levy and collection of a 1% sales and use tax dedicated as follows. 25% of the proceeds of the tax to be used to pay the cost of operation of local government, and 75% of the proceeds of the tax to be used to fund the parish road and bridge fund in order to pay the cost of road and bridge maintenance and improvements within the parish. And that's just a notification that has to be read out before it gets on the agenda. Any comments on that? There are no comments on that. I'll close the public hearing, call the council meeting to order, and I'll ask you if you have a cell phone to please mute it or turn it off. And we will have the invocation by Mr. Sinagra and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Joseph. Mr. Sinagra.
Thank you, Lord, for this day, bringing us all here safe, Lord. We just ask for wisdom tonight as we make decisions for this parish, Lord. Ask for protection for our military, all our first responders, to keep us safe each and every day, Lord. And I'd love to lift up our teachers and that they can finish this year strong, Lord. And just that everyone have a safe trip back home to their family tonight, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Mr. Joseph.
Everyone, please face the flag. All veterans, active military, render the proper salute. Ready, salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Ms. Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra.
Here.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Here.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Havis.
Here.
Mr. Richtel.
Here.
Mr. Mayu.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Vial.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Ms. Ciatat.
Here.
All righty. Adoption of the minutes, regular meeting February 26, 2024.
So move.
Second.
That was Ms. Hyde and second by Mr. Wells. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel. Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciatat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 10-0. Public input, anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? Okay. Parish President's report, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We just have a couple items. The first one is approval of the tire bids. There's numerous different tires and different vendors and so forth. The actual packet is in your, bid calculations are in your packets telling you who got each of the different ones. But we'd appreciate approval so we can purchase tires as necessary.
Also move, Chairman.
I'll second.
Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel. Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciatat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes. Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you very much. The second item is approval for us to go out for bid, to seek bid for the HVAC system for the Region 9 distribution warehouse. This is the building in Independence, and Region 9 is the emergency management for the state of Louisiana distribution warehouse. The electrical is pretty close to finished up, and we're ready to go into the HVAC, the air conditioning system for that,
Yeah, so moved.
And this,
Go ahead, Joe.
this is just for the warehouse part?
for the big part.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at the other rooms too, because some of those don't need quite as much work, to get them back up in operation.
I'll second.
All right, first by Mr. Joseph and second by Mr. Havis. Call roll, please.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wills.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Anything else, Mr. Miller?
The only note I'd like to say is that we have begun, Tangipahoa Parish has begun festival season. Our calendar is full over the next several weeks, and all of our festivals are pretty incredible, so make sure you take advantage of those and enjoy them. Last weekend was the Sicilian Festival, this weekend's the Oyster Festival. So hope to see y'all all there. Any questions? Great, thank y'all very much.
Okay, we'll move into regular business, which is approval of ordinances. And the first one is, this was in the public hearing, adoption of ordinance 2404, an ordinance to abandon the dedication of public roadway encompassing 1.505 acres more or less, situated in Township 5, Section 7, South, Range and East, located in District 8, Tangipahoa Parish, State of Louisiana. Any questions for administration on that one? We talked about this at the last meeting. It's in District 8. If somebody would make that motion, I'd appreciate it.
I so moved.
First by Mr. Joseph. Is
I'll
there a second?
second.
Second was Ms. Hyde. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wills.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 10-0. The next item is adoption of an ordinance 2405, an ordinance to place a maximum 90-day moratorium on the consideration of and/or approval of all developments on construction and demolition debris sites within Tangipahoa Parish. This was brought up at the last meeting. It's a maximum 90-day moratorium. We met on this once already, and we will be meeting on this again at the DRC meeting this Wednesday.
I so move.
There's a motion by Ms. Hyde. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Havis. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wills.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Now we get to the introduction of ordinances. Introduction of an ordinance 2406, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 50 Utilities, Article 2 Sewer Community Systems. This is recommended by the DRC, and what this does is it gives first right of refusal to Sewer District Number 1 for any dedication of a subdivision sewer system, rather than they get the first right of refusal. If they don't want it, then it can go to a public system. So that's what that is. That's the only change in that ordinance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Joseph first, second, Mr. Ingraffia. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Wills.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis. Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes. Motion passes 10-0. Next item is introducing an ordinance 2407, an ordinance amending TP ordinance number 1956, Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government Employee Handbook. These are some amendments that were required by the auditor, and Ms. Johnson is here if you have any questions, but they're both highlighted in your package, and one of them has to do with documentation on employee ethics training, and the other one is documentation every year on sexual harassment training from my employees. So if there are any questions, Ms. Johnson is here. If not,
I so move, Mr.
all
Chairman.
right. Is there, Mr. Wells, is there a second?
Yes.
Was Mr. Joseph? Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Okay, item 7. Oh, there's Mr. Ryan. A resolution authorizing Tangipahoa Water District, Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana, to proceed with the issuance, sale, and delivery of, if it's not to exceed $17.2 million water revenue refunding bonds in one or more series. Mr. Ryan, you have the floor.
Turn your mic on, please.
Mike, yeah, sorry.
Push the person.
There you go.
There you go.
You're on.
We came to y'all last month and introduced this to y'all, and then we The water board has adopted a resolution as well. We'll be back at the water board next Monday. This is a refunding. Y'all have seen this before. It's a little bit different. Mr. Vial asked me, how in the world could you refund bonds that we did 3 years ago because interest rates are so low? And actually, Ms. Siat asked me, I'm just going to call you Strader, the same thing. Most people don't know, but Strader's dad served on the executive committee of the largest bond issuer in the state for 20-something years, which I was the executive director of for 5 years. So this is a little bit different, and it's a tender refunding. And normally when we refund bonds, we just go out and refund the whole bond. And as some of y'all know, there's really not one bond. It's like you have a mortgage and you owe maybe Mr. Joseph your first year payment, maybe Mr. Havish your second year payment, maybe Mr. Ridgedale your third year payment, Mr. Wells, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So normally when we go out and we refund a bond issue, we refund all of those. We refinance it. It's just like refinancing your mortgage. We borrow money at a lower rate and pay off the old loan. I've never heard of this until last fall. I've been in this business 30 years. Some guys out of Wall Street called me and said, we're going to do a tender, we want to do a tender refunding. I'm like, what? And basically what it means is, let's say that you've got, again, that mortgage that's broken up into different pieces, and you're paying 2% on that mortgage. Well, mortgage rates today are 5%, 6%. How in the world can you save money? Well, for example, the 5-year piece of this bond issue, this is a $20 million bond issue. The 5-year piece is earning 2%, and there's about $1 million outstanding on it. Okay, so you got someone's got $1 million invested at 2% for 5 years. They can't get out of it. Well, they're taking a huge loss because if they had their $1 million today, they could buy a 5-year treasury earning 4.5%, which is the safest investment in the world. So what we will do is we will go to all of those little individual bondholders, and we will say, look, we know you're taking a bad whipping on this 2% 5-year loan that you have. We're going to pay it off. We're going to let you. We're going to pay you back. And of course, they're thrilled. The only caveat is we're going to give you 90 cents on the dollar. So they make an economic decision and say, well, if we get 900,000 back and we can invest that at 4.5% instead of the $1 million we have out now at 2%, is it worth our while? Yeah. And what we do is we actually go out and borrow money at a higher interest rate than the water board's paying now and pay off the loan. So it's about $19 million that they have outstanding right now. We think that, let's just say 20 for round numbers, we think maybe 35% of that people will say yes. So you're looking at maybe $6.5 million. People will accept our offer. And we'll take the $6.5 million, but instead of paying them $6.5 million, we're only going to pay them like $5.5 million. And then we'll borrow at, yes, a higher rate, but we're going to be paying off $5.5 million instead of $6.5 million. So for us, we do the same math. You know, can we, although we're paying a higher rate, do we still save money? The bottom line is, as it always is, if we can't save them money, we can't do the deal. It's against IRS laws, it's against federal securities laws, it's against state law. So after all fees and expenses are paid, after everyone gets paid, we have to be able to save them money. They have to approve the savings. Right now, if 35% of the bondholders, the existing lenders, take the offer, we would save them about $500,000, which is a substantial amount of money. And again, that is after all fees and expenses are paid. Make any?
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Questions?
Sounds like pretty good deals, man.
Mr. Joseph, I've been in this business for 30 years, and like I said, last fall, some guys out of New York called me and said, we want to do a tender. I'm like, what? Is that like a brisket?
right, is there a motion?
So, I'll second.
Mr. Joseph was the first, and I think Mr. Wells was the second. Call roll, please.
Carol, reach out to me.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes. Motion passes 10-0. Last item on the agenda is adoption of last resolution, I'm sorry. Adoption of TP Resolution 24-4, resolution of Tangipahoa Parish Council supporting a grant application to the U.S. Department of Transportation and Federal Highway Administration through the Bridge Investment Program. These bridges are located in Districts 3, 4, and 5, and they are Bennett Road over the creek, Walnut Street over the creek, West Chestnut Street over the creek, Berry Bowl Road over the creek, and Nucio Road over Ponchatoula Creek. There are 5 of them that we're trying to get grants for. So this is a resolution of support.
I so move.
Mr. Ridgel is the first. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second was Mr. Havis. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Is there any beer, wine, liquor?
None.
Any legal matters?
No,
Mr.
sir.
Garcia? Councilman privileges. I think we have
one.
one.
I have one too, Dave.
Mr. Havis, there is Miss
Yep.
Janice Holland here who would like to speak on an issue, and I'll turn that one over to you.
Yep, Miss Janice, if you want to come take the floor and talk to these folks, come on with it.
We just need your name and address for the record, please.
Janice Holland, 16107 East Highway 40, Independence, Louisiana, 70443. I'd like to say good evening to the council. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you. I know that you have a lot on your plate. I come on behalf of my community. It's a small community, yet it's the haves and haves not. I want to say we're not poor, but we're not, rich either. So when I decided that I was going to build me a home on 90 acres and in Sweetwater, Louisiana, and then when I attempted to do this, I didn't do my homework. Normally, I do my homework. But I didn't do my homework to find out that you all had passed that no one could build unless they had a deed. So most of us have cash deeds because I bought heirs out. Now, collecting all these 60 people has become expensive. Getting attorneys has become, expensive. So many young people now were dreaming of coming on that property, just putting a mobile home. But they can't do that right now with the way it stands. What I would like to see, if you all could revisit this, and I have a ton of names of people wanting me to bring it up here to ask for help. We're at you all's mercy right now, because I've already paid for my house plans. I've already paid to have my land cleared. And I'm 8 acres in, and I'm away from everybody. So I understand that some people came up here with turmoil because there were, 6 people on 1 acre. I do understand that. I wouldn't want nobody in my backyard. But this inheritance came down from years ago. Mr. Barnett, he left 300 acres. I don't know why they didn't divide it up. I don't know. But now it stands. We would like to have accessibility to utilities. We would like to have accessibilities that we can use our property without, if I call a surveyor, the surveyor calls you all. The surveyor tells me I can't survey because they said no. And I just think right now, the way the economy is, the way you want your children to prosper and grow in Louisiana and not move out of Louisiana, I think we need to do this case by case. That's my request from you all. I read the minutes. I know who voted yes and no. I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned that I have 3 sons. The last one, he's living there. I had to do a little begging to get him some lights. And this the South. We live by our mama and our daddies until we can do better. So I'm asking for consideration from the board this evening. If you all could revisit that and help us along the way. I do appreciate you listening to me, let me voice what I need to say on behalf of my neighbors. I do thank you and may God bless you.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
input.
Janice.
I don't have any, I know it has to do around secession and legal. I don't have all the answer. I don't have an answer for you tonight. I can just tell you that, but I'll turn it over to Mr. Havis. I think have you conversed with? Yes, she's conversed. Okay.
Yeah, so we spoke the other day on the phone, and I definitely don't have the answers right now.
So just hearing from what you're saying, basically there was a 300-acre tract of land.
No secession.
It's 90 now.
That's 90 now, but at some point over the years, a succession was never done for your predecessors, right? For the people that owned the property before you, a succession was never done.
Yes, I'm sorry, so let me explain this.
Yeah.
Ma'am, would you come back to the mic? Can I get you to come back to the microphone, please?
Because I'd like to be able to help you, so I want to figure out what's going on.
Okay. Secessions have been done.
Okay.
They're done, so we're down to just 90 acres now. So secession has been done. Now it's 56 heirs out of that 90 acres. So you understand, I'm paying $250 legal fees every time I go in there and see her to try to contact all of these people. Whereas I have a cash deed where I bought heirs out.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got ready to place a double wide mobile home there, they told me, no, we're not gonna give you electricity, to that. So everybody now that's selling mobile homes, and then my niece got restored. They give you the new houses, the trail, she can't move it. They can't, everybody's in limbo because they can't, you can't move on land unless you got all the proper paperwork when you go down to get the,
And that deal there, though, she wants to put it in just in
Joe.
another little spot.
Joe, microphone.
Yes, sir, everybody's on Mr. Joseph knows where we stay. Anyway, everybody's on their acre. You know what I'm saying? It's an acre. I have 9, I'm sorry. And my office is way in the front. So what we're trying to do now is ask them to help us to let us have lights and water.
Right.
That's all we want. Lights and water.
And you're not asking for much, now I understand
No,
that.
I'm not.
I mean, that's basic human needs, right?
Yeah, lights and water.
But at the same time, this all came about because we have to be able, when we're issuing when the parish issues permits for individuals, we have to be able to prove that this person is the owner of that property. Because some individuals are taking advantage of how it used to be, and they're getting permits for trailers and homes and lights on property they don't necessarily own.
I understand that.
And so if you did a succession, you should have what's called a judgment of possession.
I do.
Okay, and that puts, I guess, how many of it was it? 60? 60 people in
And all their names are on there.
right. And so technically, unless y'all have done some cash deeds, buying other people out, at the time the judgment of succession was issued, all 60 of you owned the 90 acres collectively.
Exactly. Yes, sir. But the way it was, I'm gonna just put it like this, the way it was done, the older people, they drew a map. Tyser was the one that adopted the map at that time. So I'm just gonna use name. If Gladys and her kids were here, it's on the map. So everybody honored that and they went right where they're supposed to be. No one is, I'm saying, we're not arguing.
Yeah.
It's just the cost.
Right.
All we want is lights and water.
I get it.
We'll pay our taxes.
No, I don't.
We'll do that. We don't have a problem with that, sir.
I think it's something that we need to look into, specifically for that. We just have to figure out a way to prove clean ownership. You know, even though you guys may have like a long-standing agreement that, hey, these acres are yours, these acres are mine, these acres are yours, we have to be able to show that on paper legally that you actually do own that, you know, a clean title is what it's called.
We have all of that. I mean, I have my deeds and everything where I belong, and then I went to clean off my land, and the people come in to do what they were supposed to do, and the surveyor said, no, Ms. Holland, I can't do it because the parish won't allow me.
Right.
So we just need some help and ask you all, Mr. Harris, to revisit it with us, because it's more than me.
Yes, ma'am.
We definitely
I
gonna.
do appreciate it.
We definitely gonna look at it, Ms. Janice, and, this guy right here, I think, is gonna help me out a little bit with it.
Yes,
Thanks for
ma'am.
being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other councilman privileges?
Yeah, I do.
Mr. Joseph.
I have a couple of, y'all just bear with me for a second. I'd like to congratulate the organizers of the Sicilian Festival that was held in Independence last weekend, and congratulate Mayor Payne and his staff for doing a wonderful job. The parade was excellent, and our parish president, Robert Miller, served as king. Congratulations, King Robert Miller. John and Graffia, Joe Havens, and I rode in the parade as well. I also like to thank Junior Tasset and the Keep Tangipahoa Parish Beautiful Committee for ensuring the festival grounds were clean, immaculate, and litter-free during the entire festival. They picked up litter before the festival. They picked up litter during the festival, and they picked up litter after the festival was over. This was done with the help of, with a special shout out to Linda Orline, one of our KTPB members, and Nate Diamond, and other KTPB members, as well as St. Thomas Aquinas Beta Club students. Also, Ginger instituted a recycling program during the entire festival through Osprey, through a grant. And instead of throwing the cans into a regular trash can, it had a personal receptacle to get those cans. Instead of going to the landfill, those cans would be recycled. The grant provided recycling containers throughout the festival grounds. To say the least, it was very, very effective. I encourage all municipalities that are considering hosting a festival or large event to please contact Ginger Tasset for more information at 985-748-2265 or 985-517-4811 concerning the Osprey grant. You will not be disappointed. Last but no means least, the Amy Oyster Festival starts this weekend. The festival is family friendly, so come out and have a great time. I like to defer to Joe.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing that Ginger and them did. DC Reeves School also, Mr. Lewis was out there Saturday.
Wonderful.
I didn't get the exact weight from Ginger, but the water bottles and aluminum cans, they picked up about 2,000 aluminum cans and about the same many water bottles. Actually, the water bottles was probably a little more than that got to recycling instead of going to the landfill.
That's great.
And I thought it was just an awesome job. Ginger she is dedicated and passionate about that. She had me out there Sunday morning with my rubber gloves on, sorting through stuff. Yeah, that's right. So, good job to all them that was involved.
Yeah.
Any other councilman privileges? Ms. Hyde?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate our Ponchatoula High School boys basketball team on winning the state championship. This is actually the second year in a row that they've won. I think Strader wants to add to that.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. We're super proud of those boys, of the coaches, and everybody that supported them, and I'm looking forward to Mr. Vial wearing green and white to the next meeting.
Give the Green Wave a round of applause. For the championship. Good job.
And also too, if nobody caught the coverage that Mr. Bob and them did for the Sicilian Parade, if y'all need a good co-host for any kind of TV show, Straight to See It Tat did an excellent job.
All right, any other councilman privileges? None? There being a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Ms. Seatat, second by Mr. Wells. Any objections? There being no objections, meeting adjourned.